Hi everyone, my name is Myles Edwards and I'm the co-founder of the Gathimba Edwards Foundation, which is a charity that supports children in various parts of Kenya, including Iten. We're really proud to be the partner charity of the Kenya Experience, and it's been my pleasure to meet so many of the guests during the trips over the years. This time's a little bit different. Usually we would take you to visit one of the families that we support, some of the houses that we've built, and I would do a presentation to show the work that we do and the support that Kenya Experience gives us. But today I'm with you virtually from Aberdeen in Scotland. Over the past 11 years I've lived between Aberdeen and Iten, and the experiences I've had in Iten have been absolutely incredible, along with Kenya Experience guests, but also by myself, with my family, and with other friends as well. So hopefully in this short video I can give you a little bit of an insight into the work that we do and some of the experiences that I've had in Iten and Kenya as a whole as well. So going back to the beginning, it was 2011 when I first went out to Kenya with a friend of mine, Dan Mulhere. We planned and did stay there for 3 months, and it was an incredible experience. I'd learned a little bit about Kenya from a friend of mine, Gathimba, who I've subsequently set up the charity with, because back in 2009 I was on the same start line as him in a race in Aberdeen, and Gideon and his colleague Bethwell Bergen, some of you might recognise that name as well, he's one of the top 1500 metre runners in the world at the moment. They had come across to Aberdeen to try and break 4 minutes for the first time in Aberdeen, and I was due to be one of the pacemakers that day. When we had a meeting with Gideon and Bethwell just before the race, I remember asking them how quickly they wanted to go through 800 metres in. And when Gideon said 1 minute and 54 seconds, that was a bit of a problem for me, because at that point my personal best was 2 seconds slower than that. So I ended up pacemaking for the British athletes in the field, and Gideon and Bethwell went on, and with the help of a pacemaker for the first 400 metres, they went on and ran 3 minutes and 57 seconds, which for me was just incredible to see, and to also just how it was possible for humans to run that quick. So I was really intrigued, and that's why in 2011, when Dan Mulhere and our friend Kieran Fitzpatrick, who lives in Iten, when they gave me the opportunity to come out to Iten, I grabbed it with both hands. And when we arrived in Iten, it was a bit of a culture shock, but people were so welcoming that it made it a lot easier to adapt. One of the striking things for me was the track. The track was a dirt track, and sometimes when it rained you couldn't train on it in the morning. You had to wait for the sun to dry out the track, and I guess that showed me just that you didn't necessarily need the best facilities to be successful in life. What you need is within you, and you saw incredible sacrifice and hard work of the Kenyan athletes, but also foreign athletes that live there as well, like Jake and Zane Robertson, who have been a big inspiration to me. And seeing how hard those guys and girls worked was incredible. Some of them training at that time 3 times a day, probably isn't quite so common now, but regularly training twice a day. And also a big learning curve for me was the rest in between. I think in the UK, certainly our idea of rest is perhaps sitting watching television or work, in between training sessions. So to see the way that they really rested seriously and recovered fully for training, the next training session was really interesting for me. So I went back home and worked a couple of part-time jobs, saved up money to go back to Iten, and did that a number of times. And in 2013 was when Gideon Gathimba took me to visit the Pavilion Village Children's Home in a town called Karatina, which is his hometown. And I was shocked by the conditions they were living in. There was 22 children in the home, all of whom were out of school due to a lack of fees. They were really short on food, the windows were broken, the mattresses were torn and really poor quality. But the love which the couple, John and Agnes, who run the home, had for the children was incredible, and the children just seemed happy. They didn't ask for anything, despite, as I saw it, their conditions being quite challenging or very challenging to live in. So when Gideon and I left the home that day, we were really inspired to try and raise funds to buy each of the children a mattress for that Christmas. And so it was £22 for each mattress, and we wanted to get 22 mattresses in total. And incredibly, after a couple of days, thanks to so many people that have supported us then and since, we were able to raise almost 3 times that amount of money, and the mattresses were delivered. And with the extra money, we were able to get some food for the home and also start getting some of the children back into school as well. So that it was that was the main inspiration for us to start the Gathimba Edwards Foundation, which, thanks to so many people, including the Kenya Experience Company and also guests, thanks to their support, we've been able to now support 417 children across different parts of Kenya through education, so that's primary, secondary, college or university. We've been able to build 39 houses. Around half of those have taken place on our volunteer house building trips, and the other half has been done with fundraising and local workers and volunteers. We've been able to start 10 businesses for families, and we have a number in the pipeline that we're hoping to start. What we do wouldn't be possible without the Kenya Experience. We're so grateful for their support. Each Kenya Experience guest receives a GEF bracelet, like the Kenyan one I'm wearing just now. And the funds raised from this go to support 2 children, Irene and Andrew, through school. So just by coming on a Kenya Experience trip, people are changing lives of those 2 children, but also so many more. What we do, we focus on education, on shelter, and more recently on business startups as well. We also have seminars and career and life guidance programs as well, and also some farming projects to enable families to grow their own food for consumption and for selling. One thing I wanted to touch on today was the impact that the COVID-19 situation has had on the families that we support. Many of the children rely on school meals, so lunchtime in particular, and with schools being closed, they're now at home and there's a shortage of food at home. The majority of the families we support for income rely on casual work, which involves working on a farm for a full day, very hard work, and generally they're paid around £1.50 or £2 a day, and a lot of that work isn't available at the moment. So not only is there more of a need for food, but there's also less of an income. So we're doing what we can. We have a fundraising campaign on our website, which you can see on our homepage, that what we're trying to do is make sure that the most vulnerable families have food during this time. So currently we're trying to support 49 families, and we're doing that by making mobile payments to shops, and one family member is able to collect the food and essential items for from the shop for the family. And on average it takes £9 to provide food and essential items to a family for a week, and we're really pleased with how that's going so far, and the families are safe and well for the time being. Obviously, like everyone else, we hope that the situation settles soon, but in the meantime we're doing everything we can to make sure that they're okay. We're also aware that the family, children and parents who are HIV positive are particularly at risk during this time, so we've taken measures to make sure that it's other family members that are collecting the items from the shops and doing what we can to protect them as well. There's lots of ways for people to get involved with our work, which you can check out on the website. The upcoming, the closest one coming up is a Globe Run, which is a virtual 5k. You can find out the information on the website, but all the funds raised will go towards the efforts to support the families with food during this time, and every entrant will get a cool Kenyan inspired medal as well. If anybody has any questions about our work, please feel free to message us via our Facebook page or any of the social media channels. We're so grateful, just once again want to say we're so grateful for the support that Kenya Experience have given us, and also the friends that we've made through the Kenya Experience trips over the years. Thank you, and keep running, or keep fit if you're not able to run during this time, and you'll be back running soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.